in a lot of the fun stuff that's
now. Brendan.
Hi there. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for episode number 29 of Business Unusual. I know we need to have like confetti and fanfare once we get to the episode 30, Chris. So, you know, no pressure. You can get ready for that now, though. And I'm excited today. Our topic today is going to be meeting one of my virtual mentors. And just to let you know, I'm Brendan Filbert, and I'm managing partner with SalesWorks. And my job every day, all day, is helping people get in front of their next opportunity, whether it is a great client, a new market, something that they want to pursue, launching a new product or service, or securing their next engagement, or, you know, landing a job. And that's what I'm here for. And I have a partner in this effort. And Chris Motley, you want to share who you are?
My name is Chris Motley of Motley Creations, where we make you look good. Motley Creations does managed marketing services for small and medium-sized businesses with big goals. So what that means is I help find right-sized solutions to execute on your marketing strategy and develop the brand and image they need to have.
Fantastic. And I will actually do just a really quick intro, and then I'll let Jeff kind of dig into what he does and how he does it and what makes him absolutely amazing. But he has been a just phenomenal mentor and referral relationship of mine for years and years and years. And he's the guy that what normally happens is you understand in your own professional development journey that the biggest obstacle that you will ever have to overcome is the 4 inches between your ears. And that can be just this deep, dark abyss that is insurmountable for a lot of people. And I have leaned on Jeff so many times, both because I've had my own obstacles where I've gotten stuck and I need help getting out of my own way. But it's also, he's just been absolutely phenomenal at supporting my clients on their own journey. And I'm going to kick it over to him, and you want to dive in and share with us your knowledge and insight. And then I will do an intro as far as what we're going to be covering today in our session.
Well, thanks for saying all those nice words about me there, Brendan. Chris, you didn't say anything nice about me. I'd kind of like to hear you make a couple comments about, God, he's such a wonderful guy.
I'll write something up and have it published soon.
I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
He'll launch a press release for you.
This is feeling really good at this point.
All right.
Well, my name is Jeff Miner, and I work with people that I own a business called the Triumph Program, and I work with people that are here and want to get here. And bottom line, what that means is we all are in our own way in some way, whether it be self-sabotaging or lack of motivation or fear of something, a fear of success. And I basically, what we do is we go there. It's like, what are you afraid of? What's in your way? What's stopping you? And then we get you to go there. So that's me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. And while I would absolutely love to have Jeff share with us insights on overcoming fear and, you know, just our own obstacles that we're dealing with right now, because he does this for a lot of executives and business leaders, where I thought he could deliver so much value to so many people today is just sharing with us a bit of his background and how he has evolved his business from being a coach and a counselor. And he actually used to work, well, I'm not going to take it away. I'm not going to take it away because, you know, there are some of these really cool, famous athletes that he knows all the dirt on exactly what they're like in the warm-up room. And who is it that's really, really nice and fun to hang out with? And who are the people that you want to avoid at all costs? But anyway, we're not, like I said, we're not going to go there. So, and he only works with nice and amazing people. Right. But he'll share a little bit of his story. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of just kick things off with learning about how Jeff has evolved his career. And where we're going to start is, of course, at the very beginning of it. We're going to work through preliminarily, the first few slides are going to be focused on how he has evolved, like many of us have, of having a dream in the way back when that we accomplished. And then all of a sudden we started to recognize that maybe that dream wasn't exactly what we wanted it to be or what it should have been in reality, and how he took steps in order to get to where he is today. So as we're talking through this, you're going to have questions. And what I'm going to ask that you do is type them into the questions pane. And then there'll be a couple of different points that I'll stop Jeff. And we're going to just talk through and say, okay, help me understand what happened here, particularly related to when did you recognize you weren't where you wanted to be? And what steps did you take in order to get someplace different? So all that type of information is what's so helpful if you chat that into us too, so that we can just help make sure that we flesh out what this path is and everybody walks away with some lessons learned that they can apply in their own career, transition or evolution, whatever that may happen to be. So Jeff, how about you start with at the very beginning?
That makes me smile. So basically it started out when I was a young gentleman, a young kid actually, an athlete in Jefferson, Iowa. And I was a wrestler and I was really, really good, but I felt pressure and anxiety all the time to perform. I felt like everybody was watching me and life depended on me winning or losing. And I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't know what to do about that. And I was good and I wrestled and I went on and wrestled D1. But what I ran into was I continued to struggle with anxiety. I would get so nervous before I would wrestle. I'd have to go to the bathroom. I'd either throw up or whatever. And I struggled a lot with being able to control that. And what that amounted to was my wrestling career, my sports career in general, wasn't any fun for me. It's like I was always dealing with fears and worries and pressures and the anxiety that I didn't slow down and enjoy it for myself. So when I graduated, after I blew my knee my junior year, after I graduated, I decided that I want to become the guy that I wish I would have had to talk to. Somebody to say, it's not that big of a deal. Somebody to help me to deal with those anxiety issues, you know, meditation, some different types of techniques that would have changed my world at that time. So I decided to, moving on, I graduated with a degree in counseling, and I decided that I wanted to go. I worked with a bunch of Olympic athletes at the time. I did an internship with some Olympic athletes or at the Olympic Committee. I struggled there. I was bottom man on the totem pole. I didn't know much about the sport. I worked with a lot of Olympic athletes, gymnasts, people that were going through trauma, dealing with eating disorders, dealing with a lot of issues like that. So I ended up leaving the Olympic Committee after a while and ended up working with some professional athletes, some Utah Jazz players, some golfers, some different types of athletes. And basically, at that point, I had a personal trauma in my life and ended up going through a divorce, struggled with it a lot, ended up leaving, and kind of forgot my dream, kind of forgot my mission, my hopes that I wanted to do this. And I became somebody that I didn't want to become. So then I had an opportunity to run a hospital. I don't know why I was able to get that opportunity, but I lasted about 8 months there because I never supervised a single person and never
It's hard. Yeah. It's a really tough transition when you go from being the coach and that supporter to being the one that has to make everything happen.
Right. I had no business doing that. I didn't know what a budget was at that time. So I decided at that point, I need to leave and take care of me. So I came to Kansas City. And I decided that that's where I opened Nothing by Chance Coaching and Counseling. And my wife and I opened it up, and we hired a business guru to come in, and he really did good in a lot of areas, helped us create a system, helped us do a lot of things, but it went more towards the business coaching. And I wanted to work, my dream had always been, I want to work with athletes. That's what I want to do.
And
So
now, Jeff, at that time, were you working primarily still with a one-to-one? So you were networking to find your customers and you were getting a lot of referrals, and that's who you were working with when you started, and then you transitioned?
it was
over-
all, well, at that time, it was all our fee for service.
Okay.
And it's like, if you want to meet with me, this is what you're going to pay per hour. It was like, at that time, it was $75, I think.
Okay.
And then I was also working with insurances, which they would send me people, and that was not the way to go. You have to sign in and sign a contract that you'll accept this rate of pay. So you can't charge more than that. So you would get stuck making $35 an hour through Medicaid or different ways like that. So it was a really bad deal for therapists to be on panels,
Right.
because they charge the going rate even. So you were making half of what other therapists that weren't going through insurances. So I got off all the insurance panels, and we pretty much steered the Nothing by Chance coaching and counseling into working with business professionals.
Okay.
And we brought on more coaches. We had 4 or 5 different coaches, and it was directed towards coaching, and I was a piece of that. I was the mental health component of that.
And at that time, that's when we first met. So you were actually working with one of my clients that was in a leadership role, that was transitioning from being kind of outplaced because of the economy. This happened during the loan crisis. I think it was 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And you were helping him with kind of not feeling that he had something of value to deliver based on moving from real estate into a different avenue because his market went away.
Yeah.
So that's when we first met.
Yes. And at that time, we were actually starting to do better and had our system going. And I had to make a really big decision on my part. I didn't want to do that anymore. And they were doing, like, the business partner and my wife had things going pretty well. So I stepped back.
Right.
And said, I want to start my own business where I'm only working with athletes.
Because again,
And
that's where your passion was.
exactly. And a lot of our marketing dollars for Nothing by Chance were going towards business coaching and those things. And I was like, wait, I want to go this way totally. And they didn't. And I got that. We were starting and had a successful business. Jeff wanted to do something different, changes his mind midstream. But it was very important to me to follow my dream.
Right. Because you discovered that the reality of what your dream was, with the vision of what your dream was, along with the reality of what experiencing it was, didn't align. So how long were you there before you decided you were going to move?
About 8 years.
Okay.
And we had it up and running, and we were fairly content with how it was going. It just, I changed directions. And I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. In hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right. But it was probably really hard in the moment.
Oh man, your wife's involved and your business partner that you had created this business, and I am one of the main guys at Nothing by Chance. I was one of the major coaches that was bringing in revenue and all that. And I'm saying, see you guys, I'm really sorry, but I've got to do this.
Right.
And so I did it, and I struggled at first, and I tried to put together what I could, and But then things have moved along, and lots of different steps. I've had partners along the way. I dissolved a partnership because that didn't work. But the lessons that I've learned is I was always thinking in my mind, it's a fee for service. The only way that I'm going to make money is put in more hours working.
Which that's not so much fun.
That was depressing because I'm hoping to go the other way as I retire.
Right. And let me ask you a question here, and we are going to dig into the evolution of where you're at now, but help me understand what a couple of the different iterations were as you were evolving from the nothing by chance. So you had a package there where you were serving the executives and business leaders, and I know that they paid a flat fee for services that were based on multiple people participating in it.
That was
that was
the dream,
one.
but it never really panned out like that.
Okay. How did it not work?
What ended up happening with that was I marketed my butt off, and I got lots of clients during that time, but I wasn't necessarily marketing nothing by chance. I was marketing me.
Right.
I was getting out. I was doing the talks. We had 5 other coaches. They weren't doing the same behaviors that I was. And so it basically ended up a fee for service thing. You would pay so much and you would get 15 hours of Jeff's time. Or
Because
20
they were really coming to you because of you and buying you,
right.
and not buying the other partners. Okay, so that was one iteration.
Right.
And then you had the Triumph program that I remember you put together a program that was based on emotional eating.
Yes. Yes. Right when I left the nothing by chance, I looked for, I need some immediate ways to generate some income. And so what I did was I started working in a field that I have lots of knowledge about, and that's eating disorders, binge eating, emotional eating. And I started running groups, and it was a way to generate money in the short run to help me be able to fund what I wanted to do. And I still have it in the works.
Did you view it as a bridge to get to where your dream work was?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I love to do it. It
And
was a topic that was very passionate, that I was very passionate about, and I gave it a lot of my energy, but it wasn't doing what I really wanted to do.
Okay. So what we're hearing is that you've had, your career evolution has been a series of a lot of different moves that others have participated in with you, and you kind of kept going. And I think a lot of people end up here as well. And I mean, you see it all the time with coaching business leaders. If people recognize a talent and then they encourage you to pursue that talent and align with them while they achieve their goals. And that's great, except it pulls you away from your personal goals and objectives.
Right. That's exactly 100% right. I've got pulled in these directions so many different times because I think I'm too nice, or I have a tough time setting boundaries. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in the recent year or two is you got to be selfish in this area. It's got to be about you.
No, I don't think selfish is I don't think that's an accurate term for it, because that implies that, you know, it's all about you, and you've never ever in your life been all about you.
Now I am.
Well,
Brendan, think about this. Just think about it. It's like all about you means your health or you're going to be dead. All about you means putting your needs, your immediate needs above or equal to those of others so that you can be there for others. It's like if you're not putting you first, and this is what I have not done most of my life, is I've always put everybody else first. I'm the therapist. I want to heal you. I want to do this. I want to do this. And it's like, whoa, I can't help you if I'm not taking care of me first.
Right.
And
It's the oxygen mask in the airplane.
Right, exactly.
So I think this is a key lesson for anyone listening in today, is recognizing that at some point in your career, you do need to put on your oxygen mask.
Right.
And take care of you first. And it's not a bad thing at all, because as you're going to hear from where Jeff's journey has evolved to and where he's at now, it puts you someplace where you can be so much more and accomplish so much more, which I'm excited to dig into. But I did want to go there. So thank you, Jeff, for sharing.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about what you're doing right now that lines up. The clouds have parted, the angels are singing.
Yay. Well, right now, I've got all cylinders working, or all things working kind of together. And I've got quite a few things on my plate right now, but I'm focused on one or two, and I can kind of talk about those. First, Triumph program has switched in essence to, it's a lot more virtual. COVID has done a lot of things with Triumph that's been beneficial. One of my goals was I wanted to move this business more virtual so that more people could have access to this, because usually what we do and what we do are we're peak performance people, and we work with athletes or business professionals or anybody that is on a mission. And so what I've been doing, because I thought it was just Jeff has to work harder, Jeff has to put in more hours, Jeff has to do all these things to make more money, because I was not happy with the level that I was stuck at, my ceiling. So what I've done is I've started training and certifying coaches in the Triumph Performance Institute ways. And how to work with athletes, how to work with people on getting over roadblocks. There's a training program that you can enroll in, and then it's like a 6-month program, and you can start coaching virtually people almost pretty much anywhere. And so you don't need a formal degree to do this. There's all kinds of benefits, but what I've done is I'm selling to coaches the certification for $5,000. And then I'm certifying them as Triumph coaches. And then at first they get a lower percentage of what we make, and then they get a little higher percentage. And then after they've been here for a while, they become a master level coach, master level TPI coach. And they can make quite a bit of money doing that. So basically, what I've been doing is figuring out how to market for Triumph instead of just Jeff. There it is, the duplication. Yes, it's marketing. Like I said before, I could go out and I could give a couple speeches and get clients. I could get full, but I was not able to go out and market other people. And now with virtual, now with COVID, we're doing a lot of podcasts, we're doing a lot of webinars, we're doing virtual stuff, and we're being able to coach remotely. So it's really changed how we have done things. It's totally changed our delivery system. Pretty much we can work with any athlete throughout the United States anywhere, or anywhere. I've actually worked with some people in South Africa. So our business model due to COVID has expanded just in our coaching business. And then we've added some other things there, but just in our coaching business with the virtual coaching, what's happened is people are struggling right now. People are really challenged and they can't get out. They don't have people to talk to. And this is a great source for them. It's like one-on-one, talking about you, going into your stuff, figuring out why you're struggling. This is the perfect time for that.
And now at the same time, you're also providing the framework for other professionals who look just like you to build their own practice.
Exactly. That's my goal, is each one of them, we're creating a platform. One of the things that we're doing, each of my coaches that come in have to create a product. And then that's going to be part of our packages. And so what we were doing before was we were selling an hour per service. So it would be between 125 and 175 per hour rate. And we would sell packages of those, but they was just numbers of sessions. So the way we've changed everything is we've created packages. There's a book, there's a relaxation audio, you get Vision Pursue meditation apps, you get a daily planner, so we've created packages that go along with the sessions. So then we can charge a lot higher rate. So if that makes sense, it's like not just selling hour per session. They're getting webinars, they're getting YouTubes, they're getting video trainings, they're getting all these things in the packages, so we can charge, so it ends up our hourly rate goes from like 125 to 315 because of those packages.
Fantastic. So that's where you truly have then also used your knowledge to create the products that are independent of you delivering actual one-to-one work.
And that's our goal right now, is to create as much product as we can. We've got a video crew. Our team is videoing quite a bit right now. I've got to go over this afternoon and do some videos. Creating the product right now is going to be part of our marketing and part of our whole system.
Okay, so before I dive into that, so where can we go to see what you're doing? Because I think it would be really awesome for people to check out what you have created, not to mention, I mean, your insight on how people can get out of their own way is incredibly beneficial. And we will be talking about that in a later session. So I'm definitely going to put you on the calendar, because there are way too many people that get stuck in their own head, and they don't know how to move out of that spot of living someone else's dream instead of their own.
Right.
And yeah, that's huge.
Yes. It's
So,
like, if
okay.
you're passionate about it, you're not going to give it your all. It's just the way it works.
Absolutely. So can you walk me through what your process looks like, as far as from when a customer or prospect initially engages with you until they've become a client? Help us kind of understand what you've transitioned from being. I mean, we can get the delivery of one-to-one. What does it look like for someone to hire you now?
Well, I'll start with our marketing process has changed dramatically. I work with athletes, so I've been marketing towards athletes forever, and I've realized, well, the athletes usually don't pay, it's their parents. So we've taken a different marketing tact, where we do like mental toughness assessments for your child or for your athlete, and then we're doing YouTube things where we're getting the kids engagement, but it's more going towards the parents right now. So once they go through, we've got parent trainings that we're developing, we've got parent webinars. So what we're doing is engaging the parents in, are your children struggling with this? What's that like for you to sit in the audience and see your child afraid to go in and play, or to watch them beat themselves up and not be able to sleep the night before a competition, or those kinds of things. So then there's a free consult. So they'll either see an ad or they'll see something, and then there's a button for a free consult, 20-minute consult, just to see if it's a good fit. And that is where we sell them our packages during that free consult.
Okay. And then what does the package look like?
We got 3 package offerings, and the package that is most common is our Champions Mindset. Or no, our Peak Performance is our most common. It's a $2,500 package, and it's 2 months of coaching, includes 8 sessions, and it includes videos, the podcast, the training, the audio, the workbook, and a couple other things. And then we have a Champions Mindset package, which is $10,000, and it's for a year. One of my coaches said to me, he said, "Jeff, is 8 sessions enough?" And I said, "No, not usually." He goes, "Well, you're not even selling a package that works." And I'm like, wow, that makes sense. So he said, "Let's look at all your peak performing athletes, and how long did you have to work with them before they became great? They made the next level. They went to," and it's basically a year-long program. So now I'm offering a year-long program.
So, and that was one of your clients that?
No, that was one of our coaches that said that.
Okay. But it was someone that gave you some really hard advice during the delivery of your product that helped you recognize that you did need to make a shift in what
Right.
you were delivering and how you were delivering it.
Right. Right.
And how it's structured. So I like the fact that he did work through what's the transformation timeline, what's the actual work involved, how do we set expectations with your customer of this, and it sounds like that level of package would definitely do that.
Right. It's actually been working really well. The year-long package is like an unbelievable opportunity or an unbelievable gift to give an athlete or anybody.
So walk me through, and we've actually got a question. Walk me through what that 1-year package looks like. So if 2,500 is 2 months and has the coaching and then the videos and the app and the workbook, what else is included that moves it from 2 months to 1 year?
It's basically, you don't deal with trauma shortly. You don't deal with overcoming fears in 1 to 2 sessions usually. You don't deal with learning a new meditative skill or a new ability to focus or relaxation and lower your heart rate. Those skills usually don't happen in a month or maybe even 2. They start to happen at 3 or 4 or 5, and they really get good at these skills at about a year if they practice them. So a lot of the things that we give them to work on it's a process to get there. But also overcoming fears and going there, it's just like with a therapist. If you go in with a therapist for 1 or 2 times or 5 or 6 times, you're going to get this much out of it. But if you are going there routinely, addressing your fears, addressing the challenges that you're facing, your limitations, what you want, if you're setting goals in each one of those areas, you're going to reach what you want. It's longer than a month or 2-month process usually.
Right. And there you also have the accountability on that journey, and you're not trying to do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So if that's, so you've got that offering that's in your current product base. Now, how much of your time, looking at the first offering, that's the 2,500,
Okay.
how much of your time or a coach's time is in direct delivery versus where you've created products?
8 hours.
8 hours?
Yeah, it's like we only have to have people for 8 hours.
Okay. And then for the mindset offering where they're making that shift or the transformation, 40 hours.
Yeah, they get 40 one-on-one coaching hours and the rest is automated. They'll get videos. They can join in our webinars that are going already. They'll join our Facebook. They'll get all those other things that's pretty much happening anyway.
Awesome. Okay. So you've got, if I look at what your business looks like today, so those are the programs of how you deliver services to clients.
Right.
Now, help me understand what your business model is beyond that one-to-one delivery, because now you have the certification programs and you're serving trainers as well and helping them create businesses. What does that look like?
It's just basically they come in and they pay the rate, and then they become during their certification process, and it takes quite a few hours to get certified. You meet with me for 20 hours. You have to observe me or one of the other coaches for 40 hours. You have to have 20 hours of me observing you. It's a pretty intense certification program. And that, like I said, they pay $5,000. And then when they're done with that, they get certified and they can make, while getting certified, they can make $50 an hour. When they get certified, they can make $75 an hour. And when they become a master coach, they make $100 an hour.
And then they become one of the coaches that is a part of you delivering the one-to-one services.
Bingo. They are in the Triumph program delivering those services. And then the next step is if they want to be, and I don't have anybody at this, I have somebody that wants to do this, but nobody as a coach's trainer, where she will actually be training coaches under her. And the split will be way different. I'll just be providing the marketing. She's running her own Triumph program.
And okay, so she's going to then handle the marketing and have her own independent business.
Right, underneath Triumph. Like we'll be doing our part of the marketing, but she will be marketing down in Houston where she's at.
Okay, very cool. And your goal is to move to that model where you're coaching and certifying more coaches and trainers?
Yes.
Okay. What does that do for you? How does that align with your goal, with your personal goal that you have?
Well, it aligns perfectly because once I get the coaches and the coaching established, my goal, my dream in life is to do something that's happened over COVID. It was a opportunity that it came to me randomly. And that was, I had a client that fell off the wagon. He was struggling with alcohol issues, and we tried to get him into a treatment facility and we couldn't get him into one during COVID. There was all this half staff and all this. So he said, Jeff, would you be willing to take me to a cabin up in the woods somewhere, up in the mountains, and work with me for a couple of weeks, and I'll pay you what I was going to pay the treatment facility. Whoa, that sounds good. And I could do all my remote sessions that I was doing anyway from up there. It was like the most life-changing experience of my life, seeing where somebody can go in 2 weeks of having, like we went whitewatering, we went golfing, hiking every day, but it was intense, one-on-one, creating his vision for each area of his life, working on his relapse prevention plan, working on aftercare, what he was going to do. It was 2 weeks of individualized, deep therapeutic work that just was like, holy crap, this is so cool. I get somebody an hour a week, maybe. This was so intense. So I loved it so much and thought, this is what I want to be doing in life. So I have written a program, and now I am putting it together and I'm offering it to professionals that it's totally confidential. Nobody will know that you're out there with me. No diagnosis, no nothing. We can do remote. We can bring your partner. We can do whatever works for you. It's all individualized. You just have to be 25 miles away from, like, we got to be 25 miles away from their substance of choice. And I get to pick those locations. So it's been a dream. I'm just getting into the marketing it with professional athletes right now. So that's the direction that I'm going with that.
So what percentage of your business do you think you're going to be focusing on that? Have you kind of blocked out what you're going to have with each area to keep all the plates spinning?
Yeah, I want to do 6 excursions a year. They're
Okay.
2 weeks, and I want to do 6 excursions a year. I'm training some of my other coaches to be able to do those too. That wasn't in the plan necessarily, but I'm training. They're wanting to learn, and they're wanting to take people out on these excursions.
That's so exciting. So, okay, I know we've got other questions. So let's take just a second here, gather some questions from our group. Chris, what would you add to this?
Sorry, I was muted. I'm sitting here talking and nobody's answering. I liked how, part of what you talked about was your change in marketing, right? And who you marketed to is, excuse me, is that sometimes what we think is the primary target is really not. It's not the decision maker or the person that pays the money. And so,
Took me several years to figure that out, Chris.
right. But I think there's people that go their whole professional lives without figuring that out.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to not necessarily just coaches or therapists, but people starting their own business and marketing to the or finding their target audience?
I think it's all a matter of selecting, like narrowing it down. Who do I want to work with? It doesn't mean I'm not going to work with, like, I market right now towards athletes mainly, but a fourth of my clients right now are business people. Right. It's just people that want to perform. They want to. So I think it's going to be a matter of where do you spend your marketing dollars and who do you want to see that has the money to pay for your product.
Right.
And Jeff, who is responsible for marketing? Is it you primarily, or do you have someone else doing that for you?
I've got a team right now. I didn't have a short while back, but right now I've got Julie, I've got Damien, I've got Abraham, who's presented an opportunity to me that, if you don't mind me sharing, it's really cool.
I love hearing.
He came to me with the Freedom Project. He was an athlete from South Africa. He had some personal trauma and he wanted to go play in Europe, but because of the trauma, he struggled with anxiety and he's always been embarrassed to talk about it. And so he came to me and he said, Jeff, I want to do an awareness piece that it's okay if you're an athlete to get help. And to bring an awareness to it doesn't mean you're broken and all that. So I got all excited because that's a message that I've wanted to push my whole life. I've been trying to get it out there. Just because you struggle doesn't mean, like, I was just talking to a lot of the football players, and if you show any weakness on the football team, they're not going to be able to count on you and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, we need to change that thinking. It doesn't mean that you're less of something if you struggle with a mental challenge of some sort, or if you have trauma, so what we have done is we put together a production that Netflix is looking at putting into their works or funding the rest of it. And it's basically, we got Dustin Colquitt, we got John McGraw, we got several professional athletes to come on and tell their story about what it's like to have any kind of challenges, struggles mentally, when you're playing a professional sport. And it was a great opportunity. We spent a day filming. They went deep. One of the Olympic high jumpers disclosed for the first time that she was molested. I mean, it was just an amazing event. So that's kind of been a passion of mine recently.
And as you are building these different avenues, that's getting the word out about what you're doing. Are you then capturing, I mean, how do you then convert all of these opportunities from this visibility and that high visibility event that you've got in the works? What's
Right.
your path for capturing those eyeballs and then pulling them into your world to hopefully become a client?
Well, I will tell you that what happened was we signed up with a marketing program that said they had AI, and they did it with gyms, and they could do it with us. So we signed up with them, and we realized they can't do what they said they were going to do. But we learned a lot of marketing ideas and strategies from that experience that now we are paying this guy to create the experience that we want. He's building our branding. He's doing all of our videos, our automation. He's basically working for us. He's a videographer, social media guy, but he's basically working full-time for us right now. And just because we have so many things that we're wanting to shoot and use him for. And he is doing the Freedom Project, which ties in so well with our marketing right now. And it just all coming together. I didn't plan it like that.
It's exciting how it works though that way, isn't it? Where when you have a goal or you have a vision and a dream and you put yourself on the path in order to make it happen, I just think it's fun. It's fun how it's God working, it's the universe working to put the right people in front of you in order to make it happen. But if you don't put it out there and you don't start on the path, the people won't appear.
Right. You know, I look at, Brendan, this is as honest as I can be with as I was talking about this today, I started thinking about it, and it's like, I have failed so many times. I continually fail, and I look back and, oh, that was probably a failure. Yeah, but I learned so much. You know, if I had any advice to give, it's like, fail, and learn from it. Because you're going to succeed. The more you fail, the more you're learning.
And there's one of my marketing mentors that I follow she's a thought leader in this space. And she put out a goal if she wanted to fail 100 times in 2020. And I mean, it was a very concrete goal, but she's going to do $10 million in her training business. And she's going to do it working 20 hours a week.
Right.
And it's like, wow, I can fail 100 times.
Yes, exactly.
I can make $10 million. I'm going.
Now, there's some companies in Europe right now that are giving raises and bonuses based on the number of failures you had. And I thought that's brilliant.
Wow, that is good. Oh, we've got a good question here from David. Okay, what do you believe some of the indicators are that you have enough clients and a reputation to begin scaling into products and training others?
I think you can start today.
Yes.
And doing all those things, you don't have to have a set point, I don't think. It's all building forward. It's like, what do I want to happen from here on?
So looking at your path, at what point could you have gone here in the evolution of your career?
I should have gone there way back. I just didn't have the technology. This whole process of scaling and starting to do that's been about 2 years now for me. which means it was about 3 years into me changing my focus. But
Fantastic.
things didn't start to scale and get bigger until basically I was not even full when I started doing that.
And didn't it become almost an inflection point of when you had the products, then you actually had something that people could wrap their arms around and say, this is what I get from working with Jeff?
Right. Right. And a lot of that takes time and energy and effort to collect that data and those testimonials. And I'm doing that right now. It's always been kind of taboo for me to ask for testimonials because of what I do and who I am. And going into the personal issues and the legality and all that. But lately I've changed my mind a little bit on that. And it's basically, if they want to represent me, they can. I wouldn't even allow it before. Like now I've got a fighter, I've got a younger guy that's 20 saying, yeah, I want to do these things. I want to say nice things about you. And I want to market for you. And I could never ask that stuff before. So recently I'm allowing it.
And don't you think, though, that helps so much with just overcoming the stigma?
Yes, it really does.
And it's like this entire world is cloaked in so much secrecy. But, you know, I celebrate the fact that I've worked with you and with other professionals like you that have helped me recognize where I'm getting in my own way.
Right. Me too.
Being intentionally vulnerable and helping others recognize that no one is perfect and nobody has this stuff figured out. Right. It would be great. If anybody tells you that they have, then I would run far and run fast.
Right, exactly. It's a journey, and it's learning to accept the journey.
Absolutely. Well, we only have a few minutes to wrap things up today. So people can find you, and we've got a final slide here. I want to make sure that I give a shout out to our sponsor of today. But before we wrap up, there's a really good quote here from that Dawn shared. Benjamin Hardy is, "You're only as thick as your secrets."
Ooh.
I like that. Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Okay, so today's session and many others have been brought to you by generous sponsors such as the Women's Business Center, 1KC for Women. And don't think that this is just for women. I mean, this is co-ed all the way. This is all about, they were tasked by the SBA with providing content for individuals and businesses that are navigating a pivot in their life or in their career. And that's what we're here to do. And there are so many things that I would just love to brag about. I do want to share that what Jeff is talking about doing, this is something that we are helping professionals build right now. So creating that product or service of you is something that Chris and I have looked at how people like Jeff and others have successfully transitioned their knowledge into a product or a service. And we're getting ready to launch a workshop that walks you through, here's the steps for how others have done exactly what you want to do. And that's whether you're building a coaching practice, a consulting practice, fractional services, or you want to do what Jeff's doing, which is actually creating the digital courses and the videos or the modules that are going to deliver training independent of your time. So we can show you how to do that. And that is included in our brand new program. We've got you can sign up for the wait list to get all the details of the program. We're going to be launching it in October. So the link to join is in the slide deck. And then I do want to encourage you, when you find that you're stuck in your own head, you've got I don't know, if you just feel like you're tied to somebody else's version of you that is not you, and you want to figure out how to get to being the best version of you can be, I cannot recommend Jeff highly enough. He is, I mean, he has changed so many people's lives. I've got one of my clients that I introduced him to that, you know, he just came to me one day and he said, Brendan, he said, I'm stuck in this spot where I've had a lot of chronic pain, and rather than treating me, the doctors just gave me pain meds, and now I'm stuck on them and I don't know how to get off. And it was one of those cases of, this is somebody that was a high functioning individual, and I started doing research and I recognized how many people are struggling with addiction, and it's becoming more and more and more today. And I made the introduction, and then it's funny because I get calls from this client probably every 3 to 6 months. And he said, I just want you to know, he said, you changed my life. He said, I don't think I'd be here if you hadn't introduced me to Jeff. And that was just pivotal for me. And he's one of those people that I love bragging about. And I love saying that whether it's your addiction is the willingness to accept less than 100% from you, all the way to if you're struggling with substance abuse, or you know someone or someone you love is struggling with it, he's an absolutely amazing resource. And I love him dearly, and we've got his contact information here on the slide. I encourage you to reach out. He's also doing a really good video that's just a mini training on overcoming anxiety that I'm going to be blasting out to the heavens here pretty soon. So, Chris, would you want to add anything to what we're wrapping up?
No, I think that, you know, what's amazing to me is Jeff's path and the things that he, you know, figured out, worked really hard to figure out. And I love the embrace your mistakes and learn from them, because I've always said that, you know, the most talented people aren't necessarily the best business owners, right? Because they get hit in the gut, which business will do, and they stand up and go, heck with this, I can do this for somebody else. And that's living somebody else's dream, right? And the most successful people are like Jeff, the tenacious ones that stand up when life kicks them in the gut and dust themselves off and go, you know, what do we learn from this? Where do we change so we're not subject to this ever again? And I think that, in my estimation, the Brand You program that you talked about a couple slides ago is kind of a conduit to that. There's some self-discovery in there and business discovery. So I was very fascinated with this whole presentation, because I think we're just a lot of kindred ideas going on here, a lot of kindred spirit on how we approach life. And I thank you very much, Jeff. I found it very, very, very enlightening.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that.
Jeff, you are wonderful, and we appreciate you taking your time and being vulnerable with us today and helping us learn that, you know, we don't have this figured out. And even if, you know, people like you are willing to share where you've had to deal with your own challenges to get to a different outcome, that's just so incredibly powerful. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for all those kind words, you guys. You guys made me feel so special.
You are special.
Yeah.
In all the right ways.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm going to wrap things up with us today. I want to say thank you to our participants live who joined us. And then also for anyone who's listening in on this recording, I encourage you to just remember that to get what you want, you have to help others get what they want. I want to wish you a great day and good selling. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.